Good evening, everyone. It being on or after 7 o'clock, I'm going to open up the October 18th meeting of the Georgetown Conservation Commission. And this evening we have a few hearings, actually a number of hearings, and it being on or after, let's see, we don't have one till 7:10, so I've got a couple of minutes. Do we have any business to deal with, Steve?
Some bills.
Till we get to 7:10?
We have BFC for $4,160.
What was that for?
BFC is the third-party review. Jillian Davies.
Yep.
We have Camp Dennison.
Already?
You need to wait
And
to make a motion.
I suppose, maybe, Tom, maybe you want to introduce yourself to everyone, since we have a new conservation commissioner.
I'm Tom Howland.
Actually, he's a retread, but that's okay.
Yes, second time around.
So $5,300. This is for some engineering for that map 11, lot 11 that we are working on purchasing through that CPC project. So we had to hire an engineer to do all the surveying so that the plan can be registered and the deed can be drafted for that transfer.
Okay. That was for the parcel that was already approved, wasn't it?
It was approved, but now we actually have to close on it,
Yeah.
which requires legal and engineering. And it's unusual to do the engineering, but on this one we do engineering because the plot plans we had on file were not acceptable to the lawyers.
Are we partnering with anyone, like Greenbelt on that or anything?
So they require a conservation restriction. We were not approved for the money for that conservation restriction on this one. It's required by CPC. I put it in the proposal and it was not approved. They've been doing that a lot the past few years.
Greenbelt didn't approve it.
No. CPC did not.
Oh, I'm sorry.
CPC did not approve it. It never got to Greenbelt.
I see,
We
sorry.
didn't get the money, so we didn't go. I
Got
think
it.
the argument is to use the money for current projects and because you can put CPC can put a conservation restriction on it at any time in the future.
Yeah.
I'd prefer to do it up front. That's the whole point. It's required.
That's really the point when you're supposed to do it?
But lately, they've made a decision to not fund the conservation restrictions on these purchases, which is not
Where
very
is this
forward.
parcel?
This is in the Greenway. It's
Where?
south of Rosemary. You know the Greenway?
Yeah,
It's kind
I
of
do
top
know
left
the
corner of the
Greenway.
Greenway. So it's just south
Is
of
it
Rosemary.
that Pie Wedge one off of Rosemary?
Yes.
So is the
Under
CPC
the
giving
power
any
lines.
legitimate reason for not doing that?
There are multiple reasons, none that really are explainable, but I think it's, maybe the money will be there next year.
Because
And
they
it
seem to
takes a
find
long
money for
time.
all kinds of things.
But it takes
Isn't
a
it-
long time, they said, to get any of this done, so that by next year, there probably will be money for it.
Is this a parcel they're interested in for something else?
It's
No?
wet. It's
Okay.
100% wet.
Good.
Too
They
wet.
haven't, the past
Okay.
3 or 4 have not gotten the CPC has not given the CR money for it, so it's not personal to
It's
this one
not
project.
a new thing.
Okay,
Yeah,
that's
it's not for this project, and it's not the first,
Okay.
and it won't be the last.
That's fine.
Bills for Camp Dennison, about $350 for electric, $169 for water. Some building supplies, around $300, and $250 for Don Anderson. That's the bills.
I'll entertain a motion to pay the bills if someone would like to make one.
I'd like to make a motion that we pay the bills as read by Steve.
We have a motion, and it's been seconded to pay the bills as read by Steve. Is there any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. All opposed? All abstaining? Motion carries.
Also in your packets, there's a postcard for a Greenbelt workshop, November 1st. Sorry, thank you. Oh my gosh, long night already. I'm going to be attending it. It is a Saturday, but it has a couple of really interesting workshops and programs being talked about. So, if you're available and interested.
Okay. Yeah. Referencing, is your town's open space truly preserved?
And then speaking of what we were just talking
Oh,
about, that's
appropriate.
not having conservation restrictions.
Exactly.
Sending around 2 COCs, one for 13 Lake Ridge Drive.
Can I sign
Okay.
that?
You don't have to. And one for 102 Thurlow Street.
It's be ready for the first hearing.
Exactly.
I was.
Doesn't matter, it's an administrative act. So certification of compliance, these are from, this one's from 10 years ago, that one's from a year ago, so you just sign them.
Okay.
Right.
This is all the same.
No, it's a new one, there's separate, so there's a local and a state document, so we
Okay.
close them out as 2 documents also. Anytime.
All right. It being on or after 7:10 PM, I'm going to open up a new notice of intent for 68 Jewett Street, GCC 2018-15, and that's a septic system upgrade within 200 feet of a buffer zone of Wheeler Brook. If I could have the applicant and or consultant, and if you could identify yourself for the record, please.
My name is Jim Scanlon. I'm here on behalf of Tim Rollins, the homeowner at 68 Jewett Street.
Thank you.
And I'm Tim Rollins.
Thank you. And, all right. We have green cards, I see.
Thank you.
Good.
Perfect, thank you.
Mr. Rollins is at 68 Jewett Street. The property has a 3-bedroom dwelling, an existing system, which is located right in here, that is in failure. We have some resources. We have a wetland in the darker blue. I'm sorry, in the green, and top of bank in the dark blue. This is the 100-foot buffer from the wetlands, and this is the 200-foot riverfront area.
Okay.
We're proposing a new system, including a septic tank and a leach field. It is entirely outside of the
That was my
100
next-
foot of the.
That's my next question. So we're in the riverfront, but we're
We're in the-
outside the 100.
Correct.
Okay.
They will need to pass a little bit in through the 100-foot, to get to the site for construction, but it is, all the work is.
And where was the existing?
The existing system is right here. It's
Essentially the kind of same look, little,
Yeah.
little
And the existing
reconfigured.
septic tank is right the same spot
And,
as the
they're
proposed.
gonna Crush, are they gonna reuse the septic or
No, they're gonna replace it.
replace it?
Yep.
And you've been out there, Steve?
So we just got the DEP number, so we're just good to go.
Well, this this one has.
We got it.
Oh, yeah.
There's another project that he's here for that we just got. Same terms.
And you said you've been out there, correct? Yeah. Any commissioners have any issues or questions relating to this project?
Don't have yet.
And the system is in failure. And is that a standard system or a?
It is, stone and pipe.
Are there any abutters to 68 Jewett Street? If you would like to make a comment, you may do so if you identify yourself for the record. Seeing none. There are no further questions. I would entertain a motion to this particular site.
ask a question? I'm
Sure.
sorry, I didn't hear. What is RA on this plan?
Riverfront area. That's the
Great.
limit of the
That's
200 foot.
200 foot from the
riverfront.
riverfront. Okay,
Correct.
great, lovely, thank you.
Well, yeah.
So river, wetland buffer, 200-foot river.
And this is a three-bedroom system?
Correct.
Yeah.
Mhm.
I don't think you can make them less than that anyway.
Well,
The next one is a two-bedroom.
No, It's pretty rare
By
these
law.
days. Even in two-bedroom houses, they'll put in a three-bedroom system a lot of times.
So there's siltation along the bottom here, but not actually along the side where the,
we have siltation barriers right here in the red,
yeah?
right from the driveway.
Oh, I see. I'm sorry, I didn't see that.
Yeah, there's your.
I thought it was, oh, this is a stone wall down the
Right
bottom.
here.
Yeah.
Yes.
I
yeah.
see, it was tangled up with the siltation line. Okay, lovely, thank you.
Well, it's an improvement, as
It's-
opposed to a failing system.
It
so-
is, absolutely. I'm good with it.
Anyone like to make a motion? Tom?
Tom, make a motion.
Yes, I'd like to make a motion to approve 68 Jewett Street. What else do I need on that?
DEP number, GCC number.
Technically, no, you don't need to see what it is.
And no-
Yeah, we got it.
and normally,
Right
could-
sheet, I-
normally you would indicate we're not approving
Which
the wetland line,
one? Right,
because we didn't go out and do that.
it's been a while, okay. DEP 161-0866, not approving the wetland line.
Second,
We have a motion, and it's been seconded to approve the notice of intent for 68 Jewett Street, and not, noting not approving the wetland line. Is there any further discussion? All in favor?
aye.
Aye. All opposed? All abstaining. Motion carries. I'll entertain a motion to close the notice of intent for 68 Jewett Street.
I'd like to make a motion to close 68 Jewett Street.
Second?
We have a motion that's been seconded to close the NOI for 68 Jewett Street. Is there any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
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 All opposed? All abstaining. Motion carries. You're welcome.
See you in a few. Thank you.
You're welcome.
So we need a couple minutes, Carl, for the next one. We don't usually finish up a case in 6 minutes, so we have 4 minutes to go for the next one.
Jim's good.
Sorry, we'll run behind in about 10 seconds after we open the next one.
Yeah.
If they're stacked up.
Can I ask a question about an old EO?
Mhm.
Would that be okay?
Mhm.
What's up with 57 Bailey Lane? Have you been out there and checked it? Have they been working?
57 Bailey Lane. Oh, that was 2 meetings ago.
It was.
They've done the entire restoration,
Mhm.
and all the no-cut stone bounds have been put
Lovely.
in. I got a report last week on it. I did a drive-by, but I haven't, like, walked it and inspected it yet, but it looks really good. They did.
Great.
They followed the plan, at least, you know, they removed all the grass from the outside edge, so it kinda looks like a ring of bare dirt with seed and straw on the inside. They just planted trees and shrubs.
Yeah.
And all the bounds went in, so it looks really good.
Great. That was well timed.
Yeah, it's been a rainy few weeks.
Mm.
I have been, another enforcement order update, I have been working on Tidge Junkyard,
Mhm.
back and forth with the applicant, a few phone calls, trying to nail down the specifics on.
I forget where we were with that. What did we discuss?
You asked me to kind of itemize the outstanding fines
Mhm.
associated with the
Right.
activities. The applicant said he'd work with me on kind of his version, my version. At this point,
Uh-huh.
we have half of my version, he hasn't done anything yet. There was some discussion about kind of agreeing on like a set price versus spending, you know, consultants, hundreds of consultant hours on it just to come up with one fixed price. The commission has done that a few times, and so the last discussion I had with him was considering a one-time like amount, just to prevent me spending 500 hours and him hiring someone 500 hours to do it. We had that conversation today.
Okay.
No
It's not
update.
unusual for an agency to use that approach.
It's also not usual to have it drag on for 15 years either.
Well,
We've had a few that lasted pretty long. The Centauri property was
But
10.
it's not usual.
No.
yeah, actually, the Bailey Lane property that we acquired, that was like a
That's
15-year-old case,
Yeah,
where the fines had accrued to $3.2 million.
So we could go that way too. I mean, there's
And
always
obviously,
that.
the owner could, there was no way that the owner could pay those fines.
never ends. Tids, junkyard.
Someday.
Were you here for
Someday.
that too? Someday?
Yes.
Well, it's 15 years.
Someday.
Well, I think we're about at 7:20, so we can proceed. Okay. It being on or after 7:20 PM, I'm going to continue an NRAD for 51 West Main Street, GCC 2018-11. That's a resource area delineation. If I could have the applicant and a consultant, and if you could identify yourself for the record, please.
For the record, Mike DeRosa, DeRosa Environmental.
John Colantoni, applicant.
We, since the last hearing, we've had the site walk with Jillian Davies, and we received her letter today. We essentially moved one flag. We added B18A, which moved about 4 feet up gradient. The surveyor, Donahoe, survey had upgraded the site plan, updated all the buffer zones, and your third-party consultant was in agreement with us on the line, but for that one flag. So we'd like to ask the commission to approve and issue the ORAD.
Now, I haven't even seen that report yet.
It's a 2-page report.
That was emailed to me at 3 o'clock today.
Oh, so we wouldn't have had a chance to see
I
it.
emailed it, I forwarded it to you and the applicant within a half hour.
Unfortunately, it just came today.
Right.
It seems like from what I read that she was in, except for that one flag, she was in agreement with everything except for the one flag. But she did also,
Vernal pool or something?
Yeah.
Is that something?
yeah, she said that the pond had vernal pool characteristics. Steve, she mentioned that you said you thought you had been out there and heard wood frogs
Yeah,
calling.
historically, because I drive by there to get home, and I have historically
Yep.
heard it in that area. So,
She actually suggested waiting until spring right, to certify the vernal
Well,
pool.
I mean, our regulations, the assumption, unless it's proven otherwise, it is assumed to be a vernal pool.
And essentially, from our perspective, the vernal pools, the buffer zones and resource areas would remain the same. There's no difference in the buffer zones from vernal pools and from boarding vegetated wetland. And boarding vegetated wetland here is more up gradient than the pool. In fact, the pool's is almost entirely off-site. So, I don't see any reason that the board should continue this until spring to prove or disprove the presence of the vernal pool. It has no bearing on.
Well, I mean, I would agree with that.
Mhm.
My only contention is I just haven't had time to read the report that just came out a couple hours ago. I mean, we normally have 48 hours to do an evaluation, but I certainly don't see a need to continue it to spring. Again, the assumption is we would consider it vernal pool. I don't know how other
That
commissions
wouldn't
feel.
really come into play until we're talking about what they want to do with this site.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter what the lines
I-
are, we would just
I
need
agree
to
with that.
remember that for the future.
That's exactly.
So historically, the plan would be labeled, potential vernal pool, so that they understand what the setbacks, because the setbacks do change. It is very relevant for the development.
It is, but
Can you
we
explain how
protect
it
a
changes?
solid 100.
How what changes? The special condition setbacks go from the regular 50, 75, and 100 to a solid 100-foot no activity. So the setbacks change as you are doing an ANRAD, so you can 100% understand what your project's going to look like.
That identifies that in the bylaw?
Yeah, last page.
Mhm.
Can you say that one more time? How the setbacks change?
So right now you have a 50-foot, what we call no cut, no disturb, 75 no build, 100-foot no septic system.
Yep.
Special condition setbacks, if it's a vernal pool, National Heritage Endangered Species Habitat Zone 2 wellhead, jumps to a special setbacks kind of condition where it's solid 100-foot no activity. That's very different. That changes the project quite a bit, and that's why I like to think people file these applications. You know exactly what you're getting into, so when you design the project, you can kind of adjusted accordingly. So similar projects are just labeled as vernal pools until proven otherwise.
So in other words,
We'll
if,
wait till the spring.
if you approve it right now, and we can do that, or the next meeting, not waiting till spring, it kind of locks it locks it in as a vernal pool, because that's the assumption. That's, I guess,
But I didn't think that that expired regardless of what kind of lines we accept. If they come to develop it and it's still known as, and we still accept it as a vernal pool at that point, it's still protected out to 100 feet.
yeah.
Right. But,
Right.
yeah, just keep in mind, I honestly haven't even read the report. I've been getting busy
Yeah.
for the meeting. I haven't read it. I sent it out. I have not read it. I haven't talked to Jillian about it. If this is a vernal pool, it should be labeled as such that there's no way you can accept this tonight. Now, I'm not saying wait till the spring to lock it in, but at least continue it a month so I can talk to our consultant and actually read the memo and understand what's going on, and they can modify the plan to say
But it-
potential vernal pool.
But, you know, in other words, it would affect their design plan,
Absolutely.
if it is or isn't a vernal pool.
Yep.
If we lock it in as a vernal pool, then it steers them a little bit in one direction. If you have data to show one way or the other, it locks them in maybe as a little bit modification of that,
But I don't know how we can lock it in as a vernal pool.
by definition.
But what I mean is, we protect it even if it's assumed to be a vernal
The
pool.
potential.
A potential to have the vernal
But
pool.
we're
So we-
making we would be making a legal decision, okay? So
Mhm.
we've locked in what the resources are in this particular type of a hearing.
Mhm.
So our regulations assume it to be a vernal pool, so if we're locking it in, it has to be a vernal pool.
Right.
So that's my point, kind of it even without the full data, if we do it, say at this meeting or the next meeting, it is now a vernal pool. Whether you wanna, you know, at this point, whether you
My
show.
assumption was
My
that even if
assumption.
we don't say at this point that it is a vernal pool, when they come to actually propose their development or whatever, and it has the potential to be a vernal
Well-
pool at that point, we still enforce that
It
part
has
of
to
the
be kind of,
bylaw.
in other words, we're agreeing that this is what the resources are now. In other words, if it's an extraordinary mistake is made, you can change it. But other than that, we can't just start changing the resource areas when they file the development. Well, they can pull out the ANRAD and say, this is what we all agreed to. It's locked in for 3 years.
No, we're not.
That's kind of what I'm
Mr.
going
Chairman?
with.
If I could ask a question first? The buffer zone to vernal pool is measured from the vernal pool?
The wetland edge.
So 100 foot from this wetland up here is considered vernal pool habitat?
So we had a case about 2 years ago where, say you have a vernal pool and a wetland associated with it, the 100 foot is off of the wetland edge. And so say you have a 1/4 acre wetland with a vernal pool dead center of that, it kind of radiates out from there. The question that last project came up, it was a 100 acre wetland, and the vernal pool's in one corner. You can't have that vernal pool change the setbacks on the wetland for 100 acres, because it's not, there has to be some distance. I think at the time the commission chose 450 feet roughly, so the wetland delineation, 400 feet kind of on either side, that received a special condition setbacks. And the larger 100 acre one just had regular setbacks. There might have been a vernal pool in that larger wetland, but at the time we weren't aware of it. So, on this one, the wetland that they've delineated would have that special condition setbacks associated with it if it was determined to be a vernal pool.
So, Mr. Chair, if I may,
Sure.
let me just give a little history here, which I think is extremely important. Though it seems like it's been a short time here in front of the Conservation Committee, when we started this project, we had 3 roundtable discussions with Steve involved in 2017. We didn't close on this property until March of 2018. Never once was anything mentioned for this to be a potential of a vernal pool.
I mentioned it every single meeting. Every
So,
single meeting.
No disrespect, Steve. I have the greatest respect for you. You've been doing this a long time. So it has never been mentioned in my ears as a vernal pool, not once. With that said, again, with no disrespect, you said that you haven't had time to talk to Jillian, but yet there's a quote in here from you. So obviously you've talked to her about this.
I talk to her weekly. I haven't talked to her about that report.
Okay.
I've talked to her about the property.
So all we're asking the board to do is, I thought you said it very well at the beginning. You have another shot at this, meaning if it's a Vernon pool, then we'll have to do what we have to do when the time comes with the NOI and all that. But with what we want to do there, we need to keep moving and get into the NOI situation. And I'm asking this board to please vote tonight in favor of where that wetland is. She only moved one stake, that's all.
And I'm telling you, I have not even seen that report.
Well,
It just came out this afternoon.
I completely understand that, but it's a very simple report. Like, you know, we paid almost $5,000 to have this done, with the expectation
I
to have an
understand
answer.
that. I understand that.
We've owned the property since March. The wetlands, no one has paid attention to in 25 years behind that building. It's an absolute disgrace what's in those wetlands. And you have a group of people that are willing to put up a proper thing that the Historical Commission, and just 2 nights ago, the Economic Development Committee has 100% unanimously, both boards supported the commercial piece that we want to do in front and the residential piece in the back. I'm telling you, if this starts to go south with this, we're not going to be able to do what should be done there to help the downtown area and to clean up those wetlands. What you'll end up seeing there is something that is just a money maker for a contractor like myself, which that is not what we're trying to do. I have a long history in Georgetown. I grew up here when I was 13 years old. I'm back to do this project because I love the property. I love the settlers that ran a business there for 50 years. If you make us wait until the spring,
I'm not saying that.
okay, well, what I'm asking you is, if you take this vote tonight or 30 days from now, it's the same vote. It's not going to change what's on this paper. And this paper I could read to you in a shorter amount of time than what I just gave you my passion for this project. We should not be pushed off again. We've been meeting with town officials.
You haven't, how many meetings have you had with this commission, sir? How many?
2.
Two.
Yes.
You've been meeting with every other board in town except this one, and you come in and start trying to attack this board.
No one's attacking this
No,
board.
no, sir.
Mr. Chairman. No one's attacking this board. And what you don't know is we got pushed off for a whole month, last minute, no problem, because someone was on vacation. So you think we've only been here twice. We're already 2 months further behind than what
You
we
have
thought we
only
would
been
be
here
with conservation.
twice.
I understand that, but you don't know the history of how that too happened. I'm not here to upset anyone. I'm not trying to disrespect this board whatsoever. We've done a lot of history with this. I love the pond. Our project is set up for residential to face the pond. We want to redo and protect that whole area that's a disgrace right now. So as we move forward, if this is a Vernon pool, we'll have to make the shifts to do whatever we do. But if we get stopped in our tracks tonight, it changes a lot.
I see no need to push this off the spring. I think I stated my issue that if we approve it tonight, you're assuming that it's going to be a vernal pool. And my only contention was I haven't had a chance to read the report. That's all, my only contention at this point. Do you sign many things or approve many things that you haven't read? Yes or no?
No, but you're relying on your third-party reviewer's opinion, and her opinion is that.
In
the
fact,
line-
I've been doing this a few years too, and in fact, normally we actually go out and do site walks post this. However, we're post that season. We don't normally do the site walks at this time of the year. We're willing not to do that, but you're demanding the vote, and you can demand a vote, and that's fine. We can vote.
No one's demanding anything.
I think you just did.
So
I'm trying to explain to you what's going on here because you're only getting a portion of the story.
So one
So-
alternative option is to continue this a month, and they can file their, I mean, the whole point is to lock this in, so you can file a notice of intent. They can file a notice of intent tomorrow, Monday, right? You can file a notice of intent at any point.
I mean,
We're not.
I'll put it up to the board. I mean, is the board ready to vote on this? I have no problem
I
if you want to do
haven't been
that.
able to read Jillian's
I have no
report.
problem
I
with it.
therefore can't ask any questions of her that I might have, which is the whole point of having a third party reviewer is to ask her questions and to have, if we have any questions regarding what she's saying, because you said it could be a vernal pool, etc. I need to be able to feel comfortable in having my name on anything, and I'm not just gonna sign it without being comfortable enough with 48 hours to get back to her.
If the board wants, as I said, if the board wants to vote tonight on it, we'll vote. I have no problem doing that. The applicant has the right to ask us to render a decision anytime.
Steve, when's the next meeting?
We have a discussion going on, sir. Can you hold on a second?
You know, you and I both read the report, and she was very much in support of everything on this plan. And there was one flag that was moved, in
4
a
feet.
fairly insignificant way, sort of up the bank by 4 feet. So I would have no problem voting on it. My only concern is that you haven't read it, and you haven't read it.
And the plan's not accurate. And the plan's not accurate. If it's a potential vernal pool, it needs to be labeled as such. We don't accept plans that don't have all the information on it. And that's what we'd be accepting.
I know, but because even though it's not labeled as a vernal pool, when we come to deal with a notice of intent, if we assume it is a vernal pool, if we determine it is potentially a vernal pool, at that point, we can still take the action we need.
Well, it would have to be documented in any
Well,
documentation.
we've never really done that before.
No.
It's very bad practice.
Yeah, that's why normally you put everything on the plan.
Okay.
So again,
They can file a notice of intent next week. I keep coming back to this. If nothing, I mean, if they say this is it, this is it. It's really there's no reason to argue about it. They can file an application on Monday, and when the meeting gets opened, we close this, open the notice of intent. It really doesn't change anything. It changes absolutely nothing.
Well, now, if you want this plan labeled as this being a potential vernal pool, then that means they need to come back to us with a new plan at that point.
Correct.
well, if they're in the notice of intent, they've got to come back with a plan showing what they want to do.
Well,
Obviously. Yeah.
that's my point.
But they should have filed, if that's the case, then they should have filed the notice of intent to lock down the wetlands and showing their project. They chose to do it this way. This is the process.
Steve, we chose to do it this way, sir, because you've guided us on the direction to go. You recommended.
No, I did not.
You
I didn't
recommend,
intend it.
Steve, you know what? I work with a lot of boards in a lot of different cities. Like, you put us down this road. We talked about NOI first or the wetland mark. We wouldn't be going down this road if, how many times have we met about this?
Can I ask Mr. DeRosa, what did you say? I mean, you know what you're doing. Did you recommend that you go the ANRAD route rather than just going straight to an
I
NOI?
recommended we go straight to the NOI
And so why did you not?
because we were directed to do the ANRAD to establish the line first. So we did what we were told to do. I mean, I don't know about you. I think that what I'm hearing from the commission is that you'd like another month to read through the thing, talk to Jillian. I understand that. That's a valid point. We can proceed with the NOI, like Steve said. And we can design to this line. I think this line is, the commission will agree with Jillian, it's not gonna change the line. So we have enough from this meeting and from Jillian's report to go forward with the design. So we can work with that and prepare the NOI, have that sort of in progress. We'll come back in a month. Hopefully the commission will issue the ORAD. It'll give us more time, we just got the report today too, to consider the ramifications of the potential vernal pool designation. We'll update the plan and then we'll be good to go.
I mean,
Are you okay with that?
I want to ask a question through the chair in this public forum. If me and my partners change our whole plan and not have anything in the 100-foot line whatsoever, okay? Change the whole plan. What is our responsibility by this commission on the dirtied wetland areas if we're not gonna touch it or have any part of it with our project?
If you're outside of our jurisdiction, you technically don't.
So we would not have to, and if I use the wrong terms, I apologize, because I'm not a wetland scientist, but we wouldn't have to recreate the wetlands that have been destroyed. We wouldn't have to clean up that 100-foot area that is like a junkyard. We wouldn't have to do any of that. Is that correct, sir?
If you're outside of the 100, if you're outside of the jurisdiction, that would be correct, sir.
Okay. So the project's gonna change. Let's delay
Wait
it a
minute.
month.
Wait a minute, wait a minute.
And now, an area of the town that is disgusting is not gonna be taken care of the proper way at no expense to the town.
I'm not
I'm
quite
sorry.
sure where you're coming from, sir. All of a sudden, we're asking to get some data, and all of a sudden, you're going off on a tangent.
They were offering to clean it up before that, to help,
We were off.
Right.
restore.
Well, that's not part of this process, sir. This is an ANRAD. Do you understand that?
No, unfortunately, I wish I didn't, but I understand
All
it
we're
more than
trying
I
to-
want to.
You're talking about stuff that gets talked about in an NOI. We don't, in fact, we shouldn't talk about any development, we shouldn't talk about all this replication stuff. We're talking about just trying to lock down stuff, that's it.
But unfortunately, because something that he knew about, that he didn't share with us over the last 18 months is just coming up now, it changes possibly the entire project, which is a $3 to $5 million project.
This is not new stuff in our regulations. It's been there for, I don't know, 15 years,
And
maybe?
you rely on the person that's in charge of the conservation in the town or the city that you are to guide you in the direction that you want, that you should go in that particular town. And
And you have a hired consultant?
exactly, and that hired consultant also will do what that particular town directs him to do.
And it's incumbent upon your hired consultant to also read the rules and the regulations too. Is that correct?
Now, I know that you don't mean that insulting Mike, because he does an unbelievable job.
I'm not, but it's called communication. I know in this day and age people don't,
You
but
hit the nail on the head, Mr. Chair. Communication. You hit the nail on the head.
We need to stop. We're
So-
gonna request a continuation to the next meeting.
I want my answer.
What was your question?
I asked it in a public forum. I would like my answer. Do I understand what was said, that we would not be responsible to have to do anything with that area?
unless you would choose to.
Right, and then you would have to file with the commission to
Thank
do
you.
the work.
I'm just trying to answer it as simple as possible for
I
you.
appreciate that, Mr. Chair.
And I'm not trying to give you a hard time. I'm just trying to say, I mean, the normal process is from my perspective, has been upset as well because, you know, we haven't had the opportunity to read this. It just came in, unfortunately. And, I mean, all I was simply asking is, gee, could I actually read the report that got paid for?
Mr. Chair, I don't want you to think that I'm being disrespectful, that you haven't had a chance to read the report. But unfortunately, the process that this committee set up with their third party or whatever, like, the third party should have been forced to produce it sooner then, because everyone knew the meeting was tonight and we were on the agenda for tonight.
Request a continuation.
Who's in control here? I'm seeing, you know, 1 and 2.
Is there a set rule in the bylaws that only the consultant speaks, isn't in control?
I'm asking both of you.
Let's just continue this, okay?
With this
We've made the points.
Conservation Commission, are you allowed to poll the votes before the vote?
No. That's
No?
a straw, that's not a legitimate, a straw vote.
No, a lot of boards will allow that. I'm asking, is that allowed here?
No.
Okay, thank you.
Can we continue?
I mean, again, I think maybe, do you want to have a conference for it?
No,
mean,
I just want the board to know, I mean this with the greatest respect, that if this gets continued, which we're probably gonna ask for, but if it gets continued, I cannot guarantee you that we'll be back, and I cannot guarantee you that we will keep the commitment that we gave to the roundtable discussions and to Steve to do what we were gonna do on that site. I just wanna say that publicly and out of the greatest respect for this commission.
Wait, I need to ask some questions.
just let me ask, who is in the Knights of the Round Table? Who was in this meeting?
Steve, John from the planning department, Deb from the Board of Health, Les from the,
And so that was outside any kind of a public hearing, correct?
no, we did 3 roundtable discussions before we even started the whole process to make sure that we knew the process and to make sure that what we were presenting and this idea that we had was acceptable and would be helpful to the town and could be a win-win. And we spent a lot of months doing that, talking to a lot of people. And so far, it's been outstanding. So there's always gonna be bumps in the road. I'm a big boy, I got big shoulders, okay? So I don't expect everything to go smooth. But what I don't expect is to be blindsided when there's been a number of times in the same room and different information given to the person that's sitting at this table. And I'm not afraid, even though it will make my job harder, my attorney behind me that's harder, and this person to my left's job harder. Because I'm the type that wears my heart on my sleeve, and I'm gonna tell you how it is.
I have a need to get some information offline. Is that possible right now?
I think the commission should continue the meeting. I mean,
Well-
we're not, this is not productive as far as resolving.
It's a matter of
these
opinion.
issues.
Wait, I have a question. If we assume tonight that that is a vernal pool,
Mhm.
and they go ahead, it's, they still,
Well,
they're not, you know,
Again, if that's what the commission wants to do, we can approve it. We'll assume it's a vernal pool and
how is
just
that
vote
going
for
to
it
change anything if we
and
approve
move
it?
on.
How is it going to change anything when he files the NOI if we say, it's, assume it's a vernal pool, yes, we say yes.
Well, it essentially just locks it down as a vernal pool, and he goes from his development based on that.
Yeah, you wouldn't even have to come here because.
Right,
But
see,
it doesn't matter when we discuss that. Even if we haven't locked it down tonight as a vernal pool, when they come back for with their NOI,
I disagree, because this is what if you're locking it down, that's the whole point. You're locking down what the resources are, not kind of changing them when you file an NOI. Otherwise, then it's even more confusing to the applicant, because it's like, well, we approved these things, but now it's gonna change 3 weeks from now when they bring in an NOI. See, this is the whole point of this thing. So you know what everything is, you lock it down, and then they know what they need to develop.
okay. My assumption was that when they came back with an NOI, and we came to the conclusion that that wetland there is actually a vernal pool, that then we would take action on it at the time of the NOI, that we don't need to lock it down now. And
That's how I understood it as well.
me too, we can't just say tonight that that's a vernal pool, mark all over that, just that we all agree
Well,
that that's.
again, I mean, if our regulations, if we're deciding what the wetland resources are, and the regulations, in my opinion, say that it's a vernal pool unless proven otherwise, if you're making a decision that, I mean, de facto kind of says, yeah, it's a vernal pool. I mean, am I missing something?
no,
It's more the documentation and procedure as far as the commission doesn't approve plans, kind of throwing narrative on it. The
I agree.
plans are approved as the date, the revision date. Carl hasn't even read the memo yet. Again, it doesn't change anything. They can file notice of intent literally Monday, and it gets opened at the exact same time. The lines don't change, the buffers don't change.
I mean,
Setbacks
And the
in
word
reality, it
potential
doesn't
is
s-
important.
It doesn't slow you down actually at all if you file, go on the assumption that that's what it is, and file Monday an NOI. It really doesn't.
We can't file the NOI on Monday because we've been waiting to make sure for the third party that the wetland mark was staying where it was gonna stay, because I'm just making this up. Let's pretend that Mike's company was wrong and it was 20 feet shy and it had to come 20 feet more towards the street. That would change our entire project, change the whole septic system, like change everything. So we wouldn't be able to do the NOI.
Of course you would.
Well, it strikes me that
Things
your
change in an NOI
concern
process,
is
so,
that
yeah.
your project, as you're going to propose it, is actually well within that line, and you cannot do your project if this 100-foot stands as a hard barrier. That is the impression I'm getting.
Nope. This is the wetland line, right, Mike?
Yep.
Okay. nothing that we're building is within here, nothing.
Well, it can't be.
Exactly. So we're within this area here, I think it's roughly 10 feet away, and then where the mitigation starts, as Steve knows, is this here is so close to the wetlands that that's all coming down and a build is shifting this way. So 1.5 residential units, townhouse wise.
We can't be
We're-
talking
we're-
about
we're really
this.
not
I
supposed to-
understand,
we
no,
can't
I
talk
didn't
about
want
this.
details.
I know, but that's where it's going.
Exactly, so if you could not give me details.
Sorry,
we're
I'm
not-
trying to answer the question, that's all, I
That's
apologize.
fine, I'm sorry, I should have phrased my question differently.
So the question is, back to square one. Do we want to? Does the commission want to vote now, or do you want to continue? You guys got to.
See, the problem is that only 2 of us have read the report. So, that is the sticking point. It has nothing to do with the lines or the vernal pool or anything like that.
Steve's comments also have to do with just the documentation and not changing the line, but changing just the information on the
Right.
plan. I mean, that's administrative stuff, but it's part of the process too. So, I mean, the applicant can ask us. By definition, they can ask us to vote tonight on anything, on a hearing. They can say they want to vote. Or, if they're willing to let us continue to the next meeting.
I would say that's a bad idea, as only 2 of us will vote for it, and then they're locked out of here for 3 years.
What do you?
If we vote tonight. That's my prediction. I'm not saying that's absolutely going to happen. So I would say that plan is a bad plan for them.
Well, I wouldn't necessarily vote no, but I would change words in a potential.
So I would say it's better for you to just wait for a month.
I just want clarity,
sorry.
clarity on one thing that I'm confused about, and it's probably my stupidity. If it's a Vernon pool, we want to deal with that correctly,
Correct.
okay? Completely respect that. So what I don't understand is why the commission can't vote to agree with the wetland marking as it is, except that one stake, which I think everyone's in agreement with. Jillian agreed to that, the one stake was moved, we didn't fight that, done. And then if it's a Vernon pool, we have to deal with that during the NOI as we move forward.
Yeah, that's right.
So,
So I guess the only issue I was trying to make was that it's not on the plan, but we assume it is, and normally, if we assume it is, we would actually write it on the plan, vernal pool.
Yeah.
That's it. It's more of administrative than like this big crisis. It's not a big crisis, really isn't.
We just need to issue a revised plan.
That's it.
with
I mean,
that
it's
note.
administrative stuff. That's really where I'm coming from.
Have you
What you're
ever-
saying is actually correct.
Has the commission ever voted to approve a wetland line subject to receipt of a revised plan? So so Steve wouldn't issue us the ORAD until he got the revised plan that had the additional note on it. I think that's the only thing we're adding.
How would you pick the date to issue? You'd have to write the date of the plan in afterwards. We approve a plan with a specific date,
Yeah,
a revision date.
a rev date or whatever. It's kind of.
Yeah, there'd be a revision date.
In other words, we would need that like in the motion. The plan the plan is approved. Rev 1, whatever date, October 18, blah blah blah, 2018. That's
That,
we don't kind of have that.
I don't think I remember us ever doing that.
We typically don't because once we kind of make an approval,
Doesn't mean,
Say the plan doesn't come in, hypothetically,
then you don't issue the ORAD.
but they voted to approve it. I guess I've never dealt with that legally, what the legality of that is. It sounds
do
like
you
a
know how
slippery slope.
we often approve things without approving the wetland line? Can we approve it with?
that's like an
This whole
oxymoron. That's what the
thing
whole purpose
is-
of
the
this
whole
hearing
purpose
is.
the
Wait
wetland
for
line.
it,
Okay.
wait for it.
I'm waiting.
Jeez.
It's like a cheeseburger without cheese,
And a
In this
cheeseburger minus
case-
a burger?
It's a delineation not accepting the definition of the pond.
Anti-delineation.
Not accepting, not locking down the definition of the pond.
That's weird. That's really weird.
No, but it could work.
How,
Am I right?
But I don't know if that helps the applicant because they want to know what they've got so they can design it. Am I correct?
I'm interested, if possible, to walk away from here that line that Jillian agreed to and that DeRosa Environmental agreed to is the wetland line. That's all I'm looking for. If we have to deal with that it's a vernal pool or whatever, completely respect that. We want to do everything the right way. But I just want to walk away knowing that's the wetland line. And I don't think anyone disagrees with the wetland line.
No, it's just whether we add the note of potential vernal pool to the plan.
But see, legally, in my opinion, and what I know of the bylaws and what I've read and boards that I've been in front of, the town and this board is completely protected without that on the plan if you're just confirming the wetland line that your third party agreed to. We still have to deal with the vernal pool if it's a vernal pool.
I have a quick question. Where is the 100 feet on there? Which pink line is it?
This one.
That one right there?
Yeah.
So if it's a potential vernal pool, which I would then insist it be a vernal pool if we were to vote tonight, that would be what I would insist on. If we were gonna vote tonight that it would be considered a vernal pool, that would be the scope.
line.
The line, that is the scope, that's it.
Of
Done,
work.
that's the line of work, right there. That,
Yeah. And I think
I mean, I think everyone in a sense agrees, but we're just trying to come at it from different angles in a sense.
I also
can you live with that?
don't like the
Knowing that
idea
this
that
is the no
we
disturbance
haven't
zone, you
had
can't
a
do
chance.
anything.
Because
Yeah.
then we're gonna get that from now on. Oh, right in.
Huh?
Offer mitigation. So you can offer mitigation, right? You're requesting waivers, so I don't, I,
So
I,
in the
Didn't wanna
notice-
go down that
okay,
road,
all right.
but
So in
yes.
the notice of
Which is all
intent,
clean up that
Absolutely.
he was
we
going
could
to do
offer mitigation
anyway.
for that.
Right, exactly.
All right, so that's easy.
That is
All right,
easy.
we'll do
It's
that.
so
That
easy.
simplifies
So
it.
gentlemen, what's your pleasure? You want to vote tonight, or do you want
If we
to,
vote tonight, we'll just, well,
I mean, as I
it
said,
goes to adding the note to the plan.
I prefer
Yeah.
to delay only to get the correct
Plan and the
documentation.
revision date.
I really probably
Yeah.
don't have a problem with what I see.
Yeah,
That's from my perspective. I certainly see no reason to wait till spring.
yeah.
So Mike, if they vote tonight, if you don't mind explaining it out loud.
So if they vote tonight, what I'm hearing is if you vote tonight, the pond is a potential vernal pool. The 100-foot is the no disturbance zone. When we file the NOI, we can ask for a waiver to be in this and provide mitigation, which we're gonna do. So I feel comfortable that that's okay. So going forward with this being a potential vernal pool, the only conundrum here is that some members of the board, as I hear it, don't want to vote till next time because the two notes aren't on this plan, the revision date and the note saying potential vernal pool. I suggested that the board could vote to approve subject to receipt of that revised plan and just write in the revision date on the ORAD. Other towns we've done that, we do that all the time with. If there's minor changes to the plan for either an order of conditions or an ORAD, they close the hearing because they don't want to clutter up their hearing schedule with another hearing just for a couple notes on a plan. So it saves administrative time.
And we
But-
would, Mr. Chair, if I may ask a question.
Go ahead.
And we would still be able to proceed with the potential same plan with potential mitigation, is that correct, Steve?
Yeah. So you're protected there, so that's good. So that is what I would ask the commission to do. Vote tonight, subject to receipt of the revised plan with those two notes, the revision date and the potential vernal pool as a designation to the pond.
Any other comments from commissioners?
Are there butters?
I just
I
have,
was gonna go there after I.
I was gonna say, I just have a general question.
Yep.
If the answer is it's denied, that locks down for 3 years,
Yeah, that's not a good thing.
Yep.
That's not
per
a good
Laura's
thing.
point. Okay, just clarifying, if it gets denied.
Yeah.
So you can say it's locked in, they can go and file next week. We're risking a denial with no real liability of just wait a month and bring it back in. Just clarifying, okay.
So,
That was my suggestion.
We're not
so
risking
this,
that, they're
this
risking
question
it.
is the applicant, so you cannot wait a month? I'm asking you that, I'm definitively asking you
And
that
you just
right
need to
now.
understand, I'm trying to digest this. So,
I'm not clear what the risk is.
we'd be locked, if they deny this, we're locked out 3 years.
Well,
to
I'm
be
not,
able-
I'm not talking about Doc, you cannot wait a month to revisit, to get the documentation correct. That's what I'm asking you.
It'd be much better with what we're faced with if we had the answer tonight. Now, with that said, we're not here to try to get locked out for 3 years, but
I don't think, no, I don't think anyone wants that.
I'm just trying to understand. It seems like everyone's in agreement with what we want to do. The only thing that's lacking is two things that would have to be on the physical plan, correct?
Correct.
Well, I believe in people, so I'm gonna say that we should take the vote, because I can't believe that this board would vote it down when we're gonna give our word, or however it is officially done, that we're gonna come back with the proper plan.
Will they control it? Because the ORAD doesn't get issued until we get them the proper plans.
So the board and the town is completely protected.
We're
May I ask-
we're breaking precedents of how the commission's handled it. Now, other towns can do it how they feel. You know, we told other applicants no to the exact same request.
But there's nothing against your bylaws not to be able to do it.
May I ask, earlier you said there was nothing to prevent them from submitting a notice of intent,
Correct.
even without this. So let's,
Of course.
I don't feel that there's, I
Yeah,
don't
yeah,
feel
that's right,
that we
right.
have any objection to this plan, except for those two small
Mm-hmm.
administrative changes. I think you can go forward
You could file an NOI.
confidently
You could file an
with,
NOI on Monday.
assuming that this plan is the plan you're working from when you submit an NOI. And just for the sake of paperwork and our, what do we call it, precedence, we like everything, and thank you, I'm glad that you've offered us your word, etc. But normally, we need things put together in a
Legally.
very solid legal way.
I'm very sincere, you could absolutely file an NOI on this, based on this, on Monday. Won't slow you down at all. In fact, to speed you up.
With the words vernal pool.
I'm serious, but-
And
Yeah, on the plan.
on the
Yeah.
plan. And that flag moved, and then it would be
Which
stamped,
this plan
yep.
represents.
And when you come back in November, we will sign off on the new version of the plan, and you will be soaring away, soaring.
Well, then they can open the notice of intent after. So I already started to write down, continue this to at 7 o'clock. When the new notice of intent comes in, I can put it at
Exactly.
7:30.
7:05, we can open up the NOI.
Mike, you've done this many years,
I have
correct?
Yep.
So,
have
I
no
mean,
problem with that.
you know very well, this process, you know, many times people will file this kind of an application because they're trying to figure out what they've got and what they potentially want to do. You
Right.
can kind of combine it, obviously, in the NOI process and just do the whole thing as one
That's right.
permit.
So you're okay continuing?
You get the big bucks. It's your call.
So when is the next meeting, say?
November 15th, and 7
Okay,
o'clock
so-
is open.
All right, so we'll continue to November, or,
Yeah, so if everything goes right, we'd actually be here in November for two things.
yes.
Mr. Chairman, I'd like to make a motion that we continue the ANRAD for 51 West Main Street, DEP 1610860, GCC 2018-11, to November 15th at 7 o'clock.
Second.
Second.
We have a motion, and it's been seconded to continue the ANRAD for 51 West Main Street to November 15th at 7 o'clock. Are you guys okay with that?
They have to come.
Okay, I just want to make sure. And actually, before I continue that motion, I actually probably want to ask any abutters if they've got any comments. I'm just going to hold that motion for a second. Are there any abutters to 51 West Main Street? Yes or no? Or anyone want to make a comment? Don't have to, but I throw it out there. Not seeing any.
Everyone
Okay.
else has.
All right. So there's a motion, and it's been seconded, and I'm going to call the question. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All opposed? All abstaining?
Sir, may I make just the point as well, that you went to all the trouble through the ANRAD process to have the water lines drawn, to have a third party review it. You would have had to do that during the NOI anyway. It's not
it's-
wasted expense that you've been through. You just did it up front instead of in the
Now
middle
in
of
the
the
NOI process,
So
they don't have really very little to do from that perspective.
it wasn't the wrong way to go about this process. It just got it all tied up before we moved forward. I think it was a really good way to go.
Well, I appreciate all your time. I know it was longer than what it should, but we appreciate it. Thank you.
And
Thank you.
I'm sure it'll go smoothly next time.
Thank you. Have a good night.
Good,
Also-
thank you. Okay, it, being on or after 7:25, I'm going to continue 554 North Street, GCC 2018-13. That's another resource area delineation. If I could have the applicant and a consultant, and if you could identify yourself for the record, please.
Ken, good evening, Greg Hockman from Williams Sparagus, here representing the applicant John Dunleavy for the abbreviated notice of resource area delineation file for 554 North Street.
Ooh, that one.
Pardon?
Ooh, I said, ooh, that one.
Yes.
Oh, that one.
That one.
Oh, that one.
So we were here, I think, a couple months ago, and with a very similar plan. At that last public hearing, it was continued to allow the peer review consultant, Jillian Davies, time to meet with me on site to review the resource area delineation, which we were able to do in early September. Jillian and I walked the line. We did make some revisions that are reflected on this plan. We got Jillian the revised plan along with some other information. She submitted a report. She had some additional comments. She hadn't seen the dates on top of the photos that we had that documented the stream dry over 7 consecutive days. She followed it up with an email after she returned from her conference in Colorado that, oh yeah, there it is, I do see the dates now, I'm satisfied. Like the other project that you just heard, there's a potential vernal pool out here as well. Both Jillian and I agree that we'd be shocked if it wasn't a vernal pool. So the fact is it wasn't the best time to look at it when we were out there. So what she asked us to do in her report was to add the approximate location of the potential vernal pool, which we've done.
Okay.
And to put a note on here that says approximate location of potential vernal pool, boundaries of which shall be confirmed in the spring of 2019. Now, this is a zone 2, so it does have to adhere to the special setbacks. The vernal pool is within and below the delineated BVW boundary. So the 100-foot zone here is pretty much a no-touch zone anyways. So it's almost a moot point whether or not it's a vernal pool, but we did want to point it out. We did want to show you roughly where it is. And if anything does happen out here, we'd come forward with a notice of intent, and maybe then it would be a better time to either confirm or...
And this report I had the opportunity to read a while ago.
Yep. So we didn't disagree with anything Jillian had put in her report, other than the fact that some of the dates on the photos she had missed, and when we responded back, she seemed okay with that. She sent an email to Steve and I.
So the plan has everything needed. I have read her report and talked to her about it. I'm pretty comfortable moving this forward.
Well, we all got to read it too, so that's the
There were some
It's another-
changes. So there were some flag changes.
Yep,
But again, if it doesn't, it's kind of like the little details probably are not relevant, but there was a few, but didn't really change much.
You know, in an ideal world, you know, and this is not specific to this case, but an ideal world, you know, the applicant comes in, asks to do a project like this, we have a third party evaluate it, then we go out and take a look at it. But, you know, we're past our kind of window of doing that, but in this case, if
They
the
still
commission.
might be able to in the spring.
Well, I don't think they want to wait that long. This is my
No, no.
point.
Oh,
So,
okay.
so I know, and ideally, this process kind of gets done a little earlier in the year, and then we kind of go out and look at the wetland line and say, yeah, we agree with everything. But, if everyone's comfortable with this and the way the process is, we can absolutely move it forward. But it's just that, if you want to go out and take a site walk, no, we don't do that. That's all my point.
So what time of the summer was it when the photographs were dated with it dry?
Yeah, so we were out there, I think, a total of 10 consecutive days. We only submitted 7. You know what?
Was that in July, August?
I think it was July and August.
Right.
But we weren't in a drought. That's something that Jillian and I confirmed.
Okay,
But
that was my question.
But one thing that was surprising is, so there's a culvert that exits, it goes under North Street.
Mhm.
And the way this wetland works, it's almost like a detention pond. And that culvert serves as an outlet control structure. When the pond gets high enough, it goes through the culvert. And then it drops off about 30 feet down to a wetland on the other side of North Street. So we had assumed that if this was dry, that the area below the culvert would also be dry. But that was flowing every time we went out there, and we had dry photos above it. I think what's happening is, because it's so low, it's just getting water that's seeping through the wetland under the road, and it's a lot lower, so a lot of it's probably groundwater.
And I think it's a pretty steep bank
It is.
coming down to it too, so it's probably seeping out of that pretty steep gully.
But we weren't able to document that dry, so
Okay.
where our riverfront shows now is at the outlet of that culvert on the other side of North Street. So it did move the riverfront boundary roughly 40 feet.
Wow.
But we also, there's an intermittent stream that feeds this pond. We got photos up here as well. It's not shown as perennial, but while we were out here doing that, in case this came up, we documented that dry, not flowing as well.
Any other comments from commissioners on this particular ANRAD? Are there any abutters to 554 North Street who would like to make a comment? Not seeing any. Okay. Does anyone like to, my review of this, it looked fine to me. And if anyone would like to make a motion, we can do so.
Mr. Chairman, I'll make a motion that we accept the ANRAD for 554 North Street, DEP 1610865, GCC 2018-13, with the plan dated.
What is the plan
date
date?
on
It's
that?
dated revised September 25th, 2018.
September 25th?
Yes.
Okay.
Is there a second?
Second.
We have
I
a
just
motion,
wait.
and it's been seconded to approve the ANRAD for 554 North Street, plan dated September 25th, 2018. Is there any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All opposed? All abstaining. And I'll entertain a motion to close the ANRAD hearing for 554 North Street.
I'd like to make a motion to close 554 North Street.
Second.
There's a motion that's been seconded to close the ANRAD hearing for 554 North Street. Is there any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All
Aye.
opposed? All abstaining.
Thank you very much.
You're entirely welcome.
Thank you.
Good night.
That was easy.
All right. Okay, what's the time here? It being on or after 7:30, I am going to continue a notice of intent for 66 Parish Road, GCC 2016-21. That's the 10-lot subdivision on 40-acre parcel, and 11th lot, as well as remaining 20 acres remain open space. If I could have the applicant and a consultant, and if you could identify yourself for the record, please.
Thank you very much. My name is Nancy McCann. I'm an attorney from Danvers, representing the applicant and developer Tom Hodgson, who is here this evening. We also have the two project engineers, Phil Christensen and Mike Layam are here this evening also. But really we would like to do tonight is to just give you an update on where we are with this project. The original project, which consists of 10 single-family homes proposed for the property at 66 Parish Road, under an OSRD type of design, meaning a large tract of open space would remain open space, was filed with you back November or December of 2016. I believe there was one hearing on that filing. There may have been two.
I think you're correct.
But I think there was one. I believe there perhaps was a pre-filing meeting. I was not involved with the project at that time. So I think there was one meeting after the official filing. The plan was not well received at that initial hearing. Since that time, we have been going through renovations and revisions of the plan. The applicant and the project engineers have worked quite closely with your agent through that time period, and we now have a plan which is a revision of the original plan. It is still 10 single-family homes in an OSRD design. Since that time, the planning board has granted the special permit for the open space development, and the planning board is very close to issuing site plan approval for that development. So what we have now, we're in a position of filing revised plans with this commission. And again, it's the same project. It is a different layout that I think the commission, hopefully, is going to like a good deal more. Originally, 9 of the 10 homes were jurisdictional. They were in either riverfront or in a buffer zone. None of the 10 homes are jurisdictional now. The open space plan has increased in size. We're talking about 33.5 acres now. With Steve's guidance, there is a public parking area proposed and walking trails, all sorts of wonderful things. We haven't submitted that, so we're not discussing that officially tonight, but I wanted you to know what was coming. So I just want to discuss with you procedurally.
Right, that's what I wanted to discuss with you, too.
Exactly. So we're all on the same page with what we should be doing. With the NOI that was filed in 2016, these are simply revised plans based on comments that were heard. So I think we can file revised plans under that.
The only issue I have right now is the Mullen Rule. And I don't have any heartburn with the plan per se, but I think we've had a change of commissioners since 2016. So I think the way to proceed most expeditiously from my perspective is for you to withdraw and refile with this new commission the same thing. And then we can vote, because right now, even if I said I love your plan, I can't legally make a vote because we've got new folks.
How many people, just out of curiosity, how many people are new? 2 new.
2.
It was one of my first ones.
I think it was. I think we had 2 meetings. I have to check. I apologize.
Yeah.
We don't do pre-meetings in front of the commission
Okay.
typically. I thought there was 2.
Yeah.
The other thing in the past when this has happened, the DP doesn't have the same concern, so you wouldn't have to refile with the DP. They just want to see the new revision. So there's some ways of gentling the withdrawing without prejudice and
compact development.
refiling. So the DP does not care about this whole discussion. At least that was their opinion when this happened before. And you just give them a revision, that's all they care about.
Yeah,
So we keep the same DEP file number?
Correct, correct. So it kind of gentles the process. I think historically the commission has reduced some of the fees associated with it, just to gentle it. So
'Cause-
what's the heartburn over withdrawing and refiling? If it's kind of the paperwork and the financial aspect, I think
Yes.
historically the commission has worked with you on that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Versus saying, oh, we need all those fees, give us the
I
fees
just want to
again.
be able to give you a legal vote, so someone can't say, if we just say, yeah, we're going to vote, and someone challenges says, that's not a legal vote.
And I will tell you,
You don't want that.
as
It's
with the
appealable.
time that has been put into this, I don't want a questionable vote either.
Yeah,
So,
so a neighbor or anyone could
and-
say, that's not a legal vote, and challenge it and stop the whole thing.
Right. So I have no problem with doing the filing as Steve has just suggested. If we can keep it under the same DEP number, that would be great, and we'll look into it, whether we can do that and file the revised plans with you. I would ask for a waiver of the fee. if you recall, and maybe you don't, the filing fee for this project that went to Georgetown, not including the state, was $23,000. It was a huge fee. So we would ask that the filing fee be waived. Given that we have taken so much out of the jurisdiction, I think the filing fee, if we were truly filing anew, was about $3,000 for what we're talking about now. So we would ask that that be waived, and we would coordinate the resubmission with Steve, obviously abutter notifications. I would suggest you want probably to go out again because of the period of time, and we have no problem with that. So I just want to make sure we get to a point where we're all on the same page so that we can move forward because we are
So-
ready to file.
So the
Yeah, we could actually vote tonight to allow them to withdraw without prejudice.
They'd have to request it.
Yeah.
Well, yeah,
Can I ask a quick question? The filing fee, is that total filing fee for the whole town? That's not just the commission. So this is your application. The 3 checks get cut.
Mhm.
They only total about $1,400.
For what? For the new?
Let me make sure I'm looking at the right application. Sorry
No,
about
I
that.
don't think you are. You may have been looking at the culvert.
No, I was looking at a completely different project that I was using as a notebook.
Yes, that was not
I
ours.
apologize. Sorry.
Culvert Bridge project.
I just want to, so the commission knows how much you guys pay it. I just want to make sure we have exact numbers.
This, here, I've got it
If
right.
you got it? Awesome. I stand. Okay, thank you. Got it. Just wanted confirmation on that.
Yeah, it was, we paid $23,637.50 to Georgetown, and that included under the Wetlands Protection Act and under your regs. That was the total that was paid, plus, of course, the $3,300 to the state back then. So that's quite a bit. I think we're good on fees. If we could get a waiver of the refiling, we would appreciate that, which again, I think we total about $3,500.
I think that's reasonable. So are you asking us, you
So,
want to withdraw?
I think
At
what I'm
least this hearing,
asking,
and just basically, refile with the new commission so we can move forward.
yes,
And you're asking for us to waive the fee.
correct,
Good.
yes. I think, and I just want to clarify and we can do this outside of this meeting, I think, as well. When you were saying we wouldn't have to withdraw under
The
the
state.
state, how could the commission vote under the state regs if there's a question on?
I think you're withdrawing it, so in the past it was
That's a good
withdrawn
point.
under both, under the local, to these guys, to this
Yeah.
group. But when you send your application into the state, they do not issue a new DEP number.
Okay.
It's a little, it was very squirrely the first time we did it, but that was the guidance the DEP gave us. We can check with that again.
Yeah, so I think
just to
what
make
we'd
sure.
like to do is withdraw without prejudice and include in the motion that we will be refiling and that the Georgetown filing fees will be waived. And if you can also waive the
Correct.
portion of the Georgetown fees that would otherwise go to the state, that
Correct.
portion of the state.
So that portion of the state fee actually goes to us. So there's 3 checks.
Correct.
So the only one that we can only waive our 2.
Correct,
The
your
one to
two,
the
the one to the state would
is
have
all
to.
on them.
If we have to refile
I don't
to
think
the
you'll have
state,
to,
and then we
just to
probably won't
clarify.
have to. Okay.
Okay.
Oh, that's an easy motion.
Gee,
Do we have that?
go Rachel, go.
Basically, we need to make a motion that we accept the withdrawal without prejudice.
Okay, Mr.
waiving
Chairman,
the fees.
I'd like to make a motion
Wait, one
that
sec.
we,
1 second, I think there's a
conferring.
dialogue.
Yes, the question is whether we want to just have a motion on allowing us to refile and withdraw, but not withdraw
Oh,
until we
so just-
actually refile, so we
just
do it
refile.
simultaneously.
Just withdraw from the local. Don't withdraw from the state.
No, I think what we're saying is that we want to have a motion to understand the process. And the process will be that we will file a new NOI with you.
Mhm.
And
Okay.
at this time we file, we will request a withdrawal of the
Original.
original, rather than withdraw the original now and have nothing, and then
Right.
Okay, so you wanna have your
Wait.
new NOI ready, and then we kinda just do a,
do it all at once.
I'm fine with that.
So you
Okay.
withdraw first?
No, no,
No,
no.
they
No,
want-
We're
they
just-
wanna
we're
just
just
kinda-
withdraw
Just,
after.
just hold it the way it is right at the moment. We'll just
continuing.
continue this till the
No, I
next
know,
time
but
we have.
when they come in,
Yeah.
they'll withdraw, then we have them right
No.
underneath.
No, they'll do it the other way around.
They'll do
They'll
it the other
submit
way
a
around?
new NOI and then withdraw the original one.
So the opposite of what was happening the last time, got it.
Correct.
Right. So I think the motion we want tonight is,
Just continue it.
Yeah.
waiving of the fees.
I guess we can do that.
And
Does that need to be in motion?
I don't think you can do that on a future application.
I think, again, that can be wrapped into the same,
All at
kind of the whole,
When you open the hearing, that's when kind of outstanding issues. So say there's an abutter notification issue, they often get addressed at the opening. I'll accept this without any fees when the notice of intent comes in. At that point, okay, per our previous discussion, you guys said you'd waive them, motion to waive the fees. I don't think you can waive the fees on a
on
hypothetical.
I see, on a
On something that
hypothetical
hasn't
NOI.
been filed.
Correct.
I guess
So I
we
think this
had
is just a
this-
continuation
had the
and like a
discussion.
head nod, and there's no liability because you'll have the other one still open.
Right.
So,
Okay.
so this is just getting continued to a,
How soon are you looking to do this? That's my question.
Very soon,
So the
right away.
next meeting.
You can be ready, yep.
Okay.
Next meeting.
Yeah.
so November 15th.
November 15th.
Do like 7:45, and when the new notice of intent comes in, I'll do it for like 7:30. That way you can
Okay.
open the new one and then close this one.
So we'll file a new NOI, we will file no fees with Georgetown.
We need to check with the
We'll
DEP.
check with DEP.
I want to make sure we're not like that was 2 or 3 years ago we did that.
Right, we'll check with DEP and do whatever we're required to do with them. And then at 7, and we'll present that at 7:30, and at 7:45 or whenever that's wrapped up, we'll withdraw.
If you
The one that's
if you
pending.
email the DEP, just CC me on it, just so I can be in the dialogue.
Okay.
Almost half of my own knowledge to learning the
Yep.
process. Thank you.
Okay. All right. I think that's what we wanted to cover
Okay.
tonight. So I guess
So-
we're requesting a continuance to November 15th.
I'll entertain a motion, so to continue.
So, Mr. Chairman, I'll make a motion to continue 66 Parish Road, GCC 2016-21, DEP 161-0834, to November 15th at 7:45 PM.
Second?
We have a motion, it's been seconded to continue the current NOI for 66 Parish Road to November 15th at 7:45. Is there any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? All abstaining?
Thank you very much.
Thanks so
We'll
much.
See you
See you then.
next month.
Yep.
Take care.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
All right. Let's see. What's the time on that? 7:32. It being on or after 7:32, I'm going to reopen a notice of intent for 541 North Street. That's a GCC 2018-16. That's a septic system upgrade in riverfront area of a stream. If I could have the applicant and/or consultant, if you could identify yourself, please, for the record.
Again.
Like deja vu.
Good evening. For the record, my name is Jim Scanlon. I'm here on behalf of Greg and Christine Noel.
I'm Greg.
541
Hi.
Hello?
North Street.
Hello.
So this is actually new.
I think
So
it's the same.
what happened is our last meeting got administratively continued. So this is actually the first time you've heard this. It's labeled as continued because it was continued from the last meeting that we didn't have.
Okay, so green
Not to
cards.
confuse you, so they're on their way.
Green
Okay.
card, yes.
Thank you, sir.
This is, the property, it has a 2-bedroom dwelling on it, shown here in this drawing. We have perennial stream and wetlands. Here's the 50-foot 100-foot buffer to the wetlands. This is the 100-foot riverfront area, and then the 200-foot about there.
This is the other end of that stream we were just talking about.
Oh, okay.
Am I right?
Correct.
Okay.
The property has a existing system. We are proposing to replace the system in the same spot.
I remember when this house was permitted, so do you.
It's about 10 years ago.
I do too. Oh, that's
It was
right.
the one that
Yep.
the grandmother owned the lot.
Her grandmother left her the lot.
Right.
And
It's a very skinny
that's-
little house and a
Yes.
skinny
That's
little
right.
lot.
Correct. Well, the system is in failure since then.
Already.
Yes.
In 10 years later?
Wow.
It is. And so what we're proposing to do is to utilize the existing building sewer pipe and the existing septic tank, and replace the leaching area in place. in the
So
same
everything
place.
else is new enough that it's only still functional.
Yeah,
Is it in failure, did you say?
it is
Oh,
in
so- I'm
failure.
sorry, you did just say those
Yep.
words.
We're proposing a Presby system to replace the existing infiltrator system.
Mm-hmm.
We're outside of the 100-foot buffer zone to the wetlands, and we are about 150 feet to the edge of work from the riverfront. And as you can see, it's a fairly small lot, and we're basically as far away as we can get the system.
Steve, you've been out to the site?
I have.
I have too,
10 years
probably,
ago,
but it's, so was I 10 years ago. I permitted this thing.
Yeah, I mean, it's not ideal that it's in failure that early.
And
but-
it's existing and it's an improvement, you know. They've got a system in failure. So the Presby is actually smaller than the existing one, I'm assuming? Or longer and narrower?
No, it's actually almost the exact same foot by a couple inches
Really?
different. The difference between the infiltrator and the Presby, they both give you the same reduction from a standard stone and pipe system.
Mm-hmm.
So what would make something
Fail and that.
fail in 10 years? I mean, any number of things, probably gross, but.
Yeah, I mean, the use, the abuse, the,
Gotcha.
It probably
A lot
wasn't,
of
it probably
laundry.
was not an ideal site to begin with.
Yes,
For the
exactly.
siting of the,
It'd be
Inf-
interesting
infil-
to see,
infiltrators have had some issues with premature failure.
really.
Yeah.
Huh. Be interesting to see some topo lines on here. Is it pretty flat back there?
It is
or-
flat. There are some, it's flat right in here,
Uh-huh.
and then it slopes down on
toward the
on
wetland.
both sides.
Toward
Yep.
the what?
Toward the wetland, actually, on the backside, because when they put in the
No wonder
system,
that stream's
they raised
running.
it.
Oh, gross. Oh.
Sorry.
They did raise the area when they put in the former
Mhm.
system.
Yeah.
And we're proposing, the grades will be the same as they are now.
Yeah, remember, that was a very tight project
yeah.
in there.
I'm quite surprised.
Are there any other questions on this? In a sense, it's
Nowhere
pretty
else to put
straightforward. Right, you don't have a lot of options here, it's the existing house. Do we have any abutters to 541 North Street?
Yeah, I'm just trying to understand, I'll go later about it. I'm the owner behind them. So if it's being if it's an existing system, then it should be fine, correct?
Right, it's gonna be actually an improvement. The current system's in failure, so it's leaking. So this'll fix that.
Yeah, can I just see, where is the, yeah, I can see this house through my trees. So where are we right now?
Are you back on 2 Brownfield?
Yeah, that's right.
Okay, this would be your corner, his lot, and the system's right out behind the house.
Right there.
It's kind of a raised lawn.
So that's right behind me. I just wanted to know.
Yeah, there's really not a lot of options on this
Yeah.
property. I mean, even when we originally cited this, it's just not a lot of options. It's a,
I get what you did here. You wanted to utilize the land. Yeah.
and you have Board of Health approval already?
We do.
Okay. So,
Does it meet the setbacks from the, property line?
Yes,
et
it
cetera?
does. Yep.
It does? Wow.
10 feet. Actually, I believe it's, the required is 10, we're a little bit greater than 10.
Okay.
So that's 10 feet from,
From the property line,
Mhm.
yeah. I believe we're 11 here, 12 here, and 12 in the back.
I just wasn't,
Sure?
Thank you. For the record, what was your name?
Greg,
Last
Are
name
you
too?
Mr. Hornberger?
yeah, Salt House.
Okay.
Okay. Yeah, we just need everyone's name who comments. It's a public record, so.
All right.
It's not anything wrong, you know.
We won't be tracking you.
Are there any other questions? If not, I think it's certainly reasonable. I think it's approvable. And I'll entertain a motion.
Mr. Chairman, I'll motion to approve the septic system upgrade at 541 North Street, GCC 2018-16, DEP number 161.
0846.
Second.
0846. We have a motion, and it's been seconded to approve the notice of intent for 541 North Street, GCC 2018-16, DEP 161-0846.
So it's actually 68. So
That is Greg Noel's.
What was that?
I printed them both out, I just want to make sure I gave you the right one.
yeah, it is.
Okay.
What was that number?
0868.
0868. 0868.
That came in last minute, so.
Okay.
Amend my second.
So noted.
Okay.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All opposed? All abstaining. I'll entertain a motion to close the NOI for 541 North Street.
Mr. Chairman, I'd like to make a motion to close 541 North Street, GCC 2018-16, DEP number 161 dash, what is that?
0868.
0868.
Second.
We have a motion, and it's been seconded to close the NOI for 541 North Street. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All opposed? All abstaining. Motion carries.
Thank you,
Thank you
guys.
very much.
Good
Thank you.
evening, gentlemen.
Carl, the next 3 hearings are gonna get, requesting a continuation.
Oh, excellent.
11 Juniper, 8:15 is here. So if we can jump to that and then circle back.
Okay, the 8:15 hearing, all right.
Yep.
All right, it being on or after 8:15, I'm going to open a new RDA for 11 Juniper Lane, GCC 2018-18. That's the demolition of house and construction of a new house in its place. If I could have the applicant and or consultant, and if you could identify yourself for the record, please.
I am the applicant, Matt McKay. I currently reside at 10 Juniper Lane.
Okay.
I wish I had brought some popcorn earlier.
I did say don't get here too early. I started at 7 o'clock.
I might show up more often if that's the way it's gonna go.
Unfortunately.
So I have the notification no butters, Carl.
All right.
That's the plan?
Hmm?
Is that the one plan? The other plan?
Should be in your, you should have a packet. Should be in your packet.
So why don't you just walk us through your project?
Sure, so, the property at 11 Juniper Lane tragically had a fire about a year ago. Our neighbors decided at that time that they weren't going to come back. They found a different property, which we were obviously upset about, great neighbors. At that time, my wife and I discussed, you know, it's a great property, we love it, so we are looking to build on that property. We're gonna do a modular home. The footprint is gonna be slightly different. The foundation, we felt probably wasn't in the best condition after demolition to be able to rebuild on it. So we're looking to, the current foundation is still there. So the house has been demolished, but the foundation is still there. So we are looking to take out that foundation, put in a new foundation, and then put a two-story colonial on the property. That house will sit outside the 200-foot riverfront area. But there is gonna be some work, that would fall within that 200-foot area, slightly. One of them being a, roughly a 30-foot by 15-foot, concrete pad that was an old garage, detached garage.
Okay, so
So
you'll
that,
be taking that up?
that'll be removed.
Okay.
About, give or take 8 feet is sitting inside that riverfront area right now, so that'll be removed and graded. That'll just be, lawn area. And then we're also looking at putting on a 16-foot by 12-foot deck, which would come approximately 8 foot into that riverfront area as well. There's about 3 trees, one large, I believe it was an old sugar maple, and 2 other small saplings that I'd be looking to take down that were damaged by fire. They didn't sprout this year, there was no leaves
So
or
they appear to
anything.
be dead?
Yes,
So
yeah,
you just
they're-
have basically a dead stump tree?
they're absolutely dead.
So you're gonna have to dig the foundation, the existing foundation out too?
Correct, yeah. The existing foundation's there, concrete foundation.
And you're not gonna use that, or are gonna expand that, or?
No, that the entire foundation will be removed. So right now you can see there's kind of an overlay. So the old foundation, existing foundation is there. You can kind of see the footprint there. And then the proposed foundation is a 34-foot by 27.5, which will be approximately 4 foot outside that riverfront area there.
All right, so it looks like the original foundation was actually bigger than what you have.
It was lengthwise, it was.
More like a
bigger.
ranch-type
Right,
house versus
correct.
yeah, okay.
Correct.
Yep.
Yeah.
So this erosion control, is that pretty much your limit of work?
Yes, yep. Yeah, we really don't expect to even get up to that point, outside of that tree coming down right there. Most of the work, most of the excavation will be, right at that border at the 200 feet. We actually expect to still be outside of it, but the heavy machinery will need to come in, because we are gonna reuse the existing septic system, which is on the other side
right,
of
I was
it.
gonna ask that question.
You asking?
I mean, it's obviously outside of the jurisdiction, but,
Yep. We've gotten a conditional approval on that. I just couldn't get the full Title V because there's no electricity. It has a pump right now, so, from the D-box, so there's no way to get the full Title V until electricity is back on site.
And what is the grading in this area?
So the grading will slope down roughly where that slab is. It slopes off probably to that first tree, and then after that, it's pretty flat. So it's just grades down slightly, probably about a 5-foot drop.
So you're going to be coming in from the street, and you don't need to go any farther back then? So that's the only sort of real down gradient?
Yep, both sides.
From-
So where the current leaching field is, that side comes down. We're not gonna be doing any work over there, obviously. But then where the existing garage pad is, that 15 by 30.
And is this all woods behind you?
So everything up until pretty much the wetlands border is lawn currently.
so from the wetland line up to the, say, erosion control is basically just lawn?
Yeah, it's just grass, yeah. Grass, so there's a couple trees in the middle of the lawn.
No, I think it's approvable. I mean, basically,
How would you feel about leaving a kind of a natural edge along
strip?
that wetland buffer there?
Natural edge,
Like, don't mow it, just let it grow in with whatever wetland vegetation to provide a buffer, like,
well,
to
buffer
soak up any.
from direct lawn, in other words, so you don't have
Yes.
like the lawnmower right up to the swamp type of thing, so you
Right.
have a little bit of a.
I see, yeah. Maybe I should clarify, there is a little bit of brush in between, I mean, that, it's not,
I mean,
you don't
sometimes
get,
people literally
Yeah.
take the mower right up to the water, and, you know,
Right.
so we like to try and have a
Yeah.
little natural vegetation
Okay.
if possible,
Yep.
maybe even some.
What about the 25 no cut?
We have a 25 no cut. We have a 50-foot.
Sorry,
That's
yeah, that
Boxford.
too, the other 25
Yeah, yeah.
too.
20 times 2. Yeah, so we did discuss that a little bit. and this was kind of the application he was submitting. So
But in
there's
a
no,
sense-
there's no waivers being requested, it's an RDA.
I agree.
You know, we actually did have that discussion, and this is what they're filing for. No waivers, it's an RDA. I'll be honest with you, we were bouncing around some options where he wouldn't have to file at all. And I encouraged him to at least file an RDA, because I think he would get a better product in the end. They could have graded around this, kept it really tight, you know, bobcat around, sneaking around, and stayed out of our jurisdiction.
Yeah,
I
that's-
encouraged him to file, and I'm glad he did, because it makes it more transparent. You know, I did bring up the aspect of improving that buffer.
Well,
and
that
it
buffer
sounds
with
like
low
he's-
bush blueberries or something like that.
Yeah,
would
so
be-
we can't ask him to, but
I
we can't force him to, because there's no
most
waivers.
definitely ask him
Yeah,
nicely.
he sounds very reasonable, and he's offered
you
to make
know,
some improvements over time. I
But
just
within,
wouldn't recommend
within
conditioning
reason,
it.
because obviously people
Yeah.
need to have a little backyard. And, you know, you don't
Obviously.
wanna
Oh,
have.
I'm not suggesting we
No.
take 50 feet from,
But, yeah.
but it would be nice if there were some sort of, like, you know,
Natural
just to
filters.
soak up some
Yeah.
lawn
Yeah.
chemicals or whatever before they,
So if I can speak for him, I think he's open-minded and willing to do that, but it doesn't have to be part of this project and part of this condition in this RDA. Offline, we allow people to work with me all the time to make these improvements. So planting some blueberries or sweet pepper bush, he can do that anytime
Yeah.
he wants.
okay.
I always throw blueberries out there because people are
So,
like, ooh, I can
I mean,
pick
just
one
to-
Oh, my
up."
kids
just to-
love blueberries,
just to
yeah, I have no
remind-
problem doing it.
Just to remind everyone, like on this filing, you can either file a negative determination, or if you file a positive determination, then he has to go
I
through the
know.
whole NOI and creates a whole bunch of other problems.
That is true.
Yeah, I will
Well, wait a
comment. They-
minute,
If you have a positive determination of an RDA, he's now gotta file an NOI.
I agree, but we're not gonna, that's not what we're
That's-
talking about.
Right.
Yeah, okay.
Right,
So, but in other words, so in a negative determination, we don't issue usually all kinds of, you know, kind of
conditions and things,
conditions
we're
and-
telling him to go away and
I
do
was
that,
having a-
but still,
Friendly discussion.
Yeah, I'm no problem, no problem doing that. It's a good,
I
good.
think he was just about to reply before we all interrupted him for it.
No,
So-
no. I was just gonna say that, you know, the reason we love this property so much is part of it. It does abut Pembroke, and I have two little ones. They love wildlife. We love camping. We do all that sorts of stuff. So, if you have recommendations, I'd love to hear them. I certainly would be more than willing to work with the commission. I think that's part of the reason that I'm here. So.
This is something that I would have, like Steve, work with him.
Oh, absolutely.
You know,
Yeah.
not really define exactly, it's gotta be 6 or 12 or 15
No.
feet. Just have him work with Steve as part of the process, if we give the negative determination, and have him work with Steve about some recommendations,
Yep.
for betterment for the property.
Just so you know, a negative determination, and this is a good thing.
Positive. All right. Good.
As I said, that's why I was trying to, you know, for the audience, if we issue a positive determination, then you basically have to now file an NOI.
Sure.
And then go through a whole process, but you don't need to file an NOI because, you know, you're basically outside of.
Yeah, and Steve and his infinite knowledge definitely, you know, was very helpful. So, you know, I certainly appreciate that.
that's not what we heard earlier. Mr. Chairman, I'd like to make a motion that we issue a negative determination.
Opinions vary.
A negative determination on the RDA for 11 Juniper Lane, GCC 2018, and requesting that the applicant, well, I know I can't put any conditions. Would you talk to Steve about putting a buffer
Absolutely.
on the wetland? Thank you.
Absolutely.
Second.
We have a motion, and it's been seconded to issue a negative determination for 11 Juniper Lane, GCC 2018-18. Actually is, and I didn't do this either, are there any abutters to? Any other abutters? No. All right, no abutters noted. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All opposed? All abstaining? Motion carries. I'll entertain a motion to close the RDA for 11 Juniper Lane.
Mr. Chairman, let's close 11 Juniper Lane, GCC 2018-18. Second.
We have a motion, and it's been seconded to close the RDA for 11 Juniper Lane. Is there any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? All abstaining? Thank you.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
Next week to do that, Don.
Great.
All right, now,
Thank you, sir.
we gotta go back and,
203 East Main.
yeah, we're gonna go back and address these cases.
203 East Main.
2:00, it being on or after 7:45 PM, I'm going to reopen a notice of intent for 203 East Main Street, GCC 161-0857. That is the construction of a residential recycling drop-off area within the buffer zone to wetlands. And it's my are you representing?
I am.
Oh, okay.
I didn't know she was coming back yet. Sorry
Oh,
about that.
all right.
I came
apologize.
back.
I thought we were continuing that. Okay.
And that is my request.
Oh.
To continue. Nancy McCann, for the record, on behalf of Mellow Disposal Corp. I did submit a request to continue this until January. And if you have any questions, I'd be happy to answer those. But we did receive Jillian's report as the peer review report recently. She had made some recommendations with regard to plan modifications, so we would like time to do that.
Sure.
And as I indicated in my letter, we are also looking at an alternative site that we have under agreement right now. We're in a due diligence period, so we want to have time to flesh that out before we take up more of your time.
Okay.
On the, just a side note, that due diligence on that property, I believe I'm aware of which one it is. There are wetlands on that property too, so as part of your due diligence, definitely keep me in the loop, because that's only gonna help you.
My
There's a big
my
history to that.
recommendation is
Yeah.
communication.
Yes,
There's a history to that property, as I'm
Yep.
sure you're aware, but just
we're learning, yes.
Just keep me in the loop. Thank you.
There was a
I will do
filing,
that.
there was a previous filing, it was approved, but just, communication, I mean,
Right.
it works out better for the applicant than to come into a, unprepared into a meeting and nobody talks to anyone, and then you have problems.
Could not agree more.
So the January, you said January?
Yes, do you have a date certain?
January 17th.
January 17th.
17th,
7:30.
7:30, I'll entertain a motion.
Mr. Chairman, I'll make a motion to continue 203 East Main Street, DEP 161-0857, GCC 2018-05 to January 17th, 2019 at 7:30 PM.
Second.
We have a motion that's been seconded to continue 203 East Main Street to January 19th, January 17th, 2019 at 7:30 PM. Is there any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All opposed, all abstaining.
Thank you very
Motion
much. And are the files available for that prior
Yes.
filing on the alternative site?
Yep.
Okay, great. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. Carl, 75 West Street is also here. He was hiding in the corner. I didn't know he was here.
Okay, let's see, it being, at the right time, it being on or after 8 o'clock, I'm going to open a new
Correct.
notice of intent for 75 West Street, DEP 161,
We don't have a
Don't have
DP
it.
number yet.
GCC 2018-17. If I could have the applicant and/or consultant, and if you could identify yourself, please. For the record. Hello?
And again, sorry about that. I thought you were a no-show, so we.
I'm sure I'm gonna get preferential treatment, right?
Did you see how the beginning of the meeting
Gross
went?
oversight. Good evening, nice to see you.
Good evening.
For the record, my name is Mel Higgins. I'm from Weston and Sampson, and I'm here representing the Georgetown Water Department for a project at 75 West Street. It's the Marshall Well Replacement Project.
Okay.
So there is the existing Marshall Well, which we have right here. Over time, its production has decreased more and more. It's been cleaned in the past. They've tried to up the production again. Finally, it's time now to replace it. So we're here to talk about the installation of a replacement production well. And along with that, once the well is installed, we need to conduct a 48-hour pumping test. So the replacement well is proposed to be 30 feet south of the existing well.
Okay.
And
How deep is the well?
oh, I'm not the designer of the well. I don't know, I'm sorry. Yeah, I have no information on
I'm
that.
just trying to figure, is it an artesian well or a really deep?
I honestly don't know, sorry. So the parts of the construction and installation of the production well will be, number one, the installation of a 36-inch diameter production well. Next to it is going to be an underground vault or chamber which will house sensors, and these will feed data back to the existing pump station. The well will be connected to the existing water main that's on the site. This is the existing water main is in the middle of the road underground, so this is all underground work. We're gonna add a generator, and we're gonna remove a propane tank area here. So this is all within already impacted impervious area.
And what is fueling the generator?
The generator, it's natural gas.
Okay.
Yep.
I can't have a natural gas spill. That's why I ask.
Yep. So these are all the parts for the construction and installation. Again, all within paved area. We're not going to be impacting or disrupting any natural vegetated area.
Can I ask, where are we? Where is this?
West Street soccer fields go past the main building, and it's down that road.
There's like a brick building there, right?
Yes.
Past the soccer fields, yeah.
Yep.
Yep.
Exactly.
Is
I know
it where you drive way out and it's
Actually.
inside a fenced area? It's that really farthest
The road,
one,
yeah.
over the river, and,
There's just a picture of the brick building there.
this is kind of down at the corner.
That's the one
On
that's
that
close to the
one.
road, correct?
Mm-hmm, yeah, it's not the farthest one.
Yeah, there's one that you look way out into the wetland, you see over there. That's the one that's close to the road, I think.
Yeah, okay, so this is a less sort of, almost sensitive area than I was thinking of the other one.
I mean, it's still pretty close to the wetland, and
Yeah.
it's good that they're pulling that propane tank out that's in a wetland,
Yeah.
pretty much.
Right.
Yeah.
So,
Okay.
I had a question related to that. Is that already cleared where the water's gonna be pumped? Is that long stretch it's already cleared? There's a long opening, or are you gonna create that?
I don't,
Just seems like
it's not, I don't believe it's a cleared area, but we don't need to. What we're gonna
You can
use
just
is.
snake the line through, right? You
Yeah,
don't
it's
have to
just a,
cut it.
yeah, it's just a flat 6-inch lay flat hose that, you can just unroll.
So that's more defining the path of where you're gonna lay it and where the water's gonna go.
Exactly.
When we see limits of work like that, we think tree cutting, clearing. You're not proposing any cutting down that long stretch. You're just showing the
Absolutely
path of
not.
the line. Okay.
Exactly.
So, Denise, can I grab your green cards?
Oh, yeah,
So
sorry.
you don't have to do any trenching there.
Correct.
So you're
Correct.
gonna use
it's all-
existing pipe?
There's
For the
laid on
discharge?
top. The discharge is gonna unroll. It's a fire hose, pretty much. There's gonna
Exactly.
unveil fire
Well, that's
hose.
just for the testing.
Correct.
Yes.
Yeah.
So
But
that was,
It just shows it as to me that's long-term
Well, yeah,
permanent disturbance.
when I
What's
look at
that
that, I
long pink?
thought as, like a lane.
Yeah,
you
yeah,
know,
yeah.
Where you'd have a
That's why I brought it
Right.
up.
pipe.
no, in our minds, this is just where people are gonna be walking around and,
Do you have the water go into like a bag so it doesn't hit the
Yeah,
ground
exactly.
with erosion and velocity?
yes.
They have devices, I've done
Yeah.
pump testing where they kind of are diverters, so it doesn't come squirting out, it just deflects it, and
Yeah, so what we're gonna do is,
I've used knife edges to measure the flow and all kinds of stuff like that.
yep, so what we propose, we wrote in the project description, we're gonna put a filter sac at the end of the hose. We don't think it's needed, but we've done this in front of other conservation commissions, and, we're pulling up pristine water, it's drinking water. No real chance of sediment being in there, but, Conservation Commission, a couple of that we've been in front of, they've asked for an extra layer of protection just in case. So we're proposing to put a filter sac at the edge, at the end of the discharge hose. After that, we're gonna have an energy dissipator. So that's basically a big plank of wood. At the end is a 2x4 standing up. Water will hit that, disperse, slow down the water.
So what is the goal in terms of GPM for the thing?
I wanna say it's 700.
Wow.
I actually asked the design
That much of a
engineer.
pump world.
Really? It sounds like
I used to,
scouring.
Yeah,
used to work, we
think that's-
generate pumps that do 10,000 gallons a minute.
700 GPM,
It is.
yeah.
That's a good thing that you're,
We want the diversion at the end, just
Yeah.
because that will
Oh, yeah,
cause,
you
there's
do.
no sediment, but you can blow a hole in the dirt. pretty quick.
Define,
well,
you know,
that's more like it. That is a very sensitive area.
Yeah.
Where,
And-
so,
If I could add one more quick thing.
I'm sorry.
No, that's okay. Underneath the end of the hose and the energy dissipator, we're also going to put plastic sheeting to help with other help protect from other erosional issues. So we're definitely thinking about, not wanting to disturb that area.
So if we're looking at this picture here, where does that pipe come to, sort of?
We're saying pipe,
Does
it's a soft
Well,
pipe.
sorry, yeah,
It's more like a fire hose type
fire
of thing.
hose.
Maybe a bigger
Let's
one.
see, this is
Oh,
probably
that's better,
the
okay.
easier. This is in the last appendix, the photos. So it would be going out this way into the woods.
Because there is a stream that runs in here somewhere,
Yes, exactly.
right?
So that's where this is going to discharge. It's
Into that stream.
Well, right. It's a
Here?
man-made canal, and all it does is it leads water from the water treatment plant settling basins,
Oh,
and it just leads it to this larger water body to
I
the
see.
north.
Okay.
So we're gonna discharge it into that
I get it.
man-made canal.
Okay,
Yep.
okay, thanks.
You're welcome.
I checked before I came up this afternoon, you haven't been issued a DEP number yet.
Oh, is that
Are you
true?
aware of that?
No, I'm not.
It's it's not the end of the world. It just means that we can't necessarily approve it tonight, even if the commission's 100% okay with it. I just want to throw that out there before anyone starts
Sure.
making motions, just so you're aware.
Well,
And I checked that before I came up
In
upstairs.
some cases, we have, almost, if the commission's okay with this, you wouldn't even have to come in for another hearing if we're just waiting for a DEP number.
Right, right. And, I don't know if you've been seeing this, but actually, I've had within the last month, two other projects like this take forever, and I've had to contact DEP saying, we're going tonight.
Yeah.
So, I don't know what's going on, but,
I always recommend applicants get in earlier. I mean, you can only do what you can do, but
Right.
so, this is going to have to continue to November. And again, if you have a head nod saying everything's
So,
okay, then.
yeah, time-wise, when is the water department looking to do this?
Yeah.
yeah, they're looking to start in September 2019.
So we got a little time.
Yep.
It's not like they wanna do it, September, 3 weeks from now.
Yeah. So I talked about the two facets of the project, installation and the pumping test. So next, I just wanted to quickly go over the environmental resources at the site. To the north is a large body of water which was created, from what I'm told, approximately 10 years ago by beavers damming up the Parker River. So we have top of bank of this large water body, and we have top of bank to the west, as well as bordering vegetated wetlands to the west. So these blue lines indicate the various buffer zones. We've got the 50, 75, and 100-foot buffer zones. So you can see where the limit of work is in relation to the resources. We're outside the resources, and we're within the buffer zone.
Are they gonna do anything with the old well? They're gonna close it or cap it?
Yeah, so once this replacement well gets online, they're gonna take the old one offline. Yep.
I mean, obviously, you like to cap things like that, so someone doesn't accidentally pour some contaminants, or contaminants get down into the aquifer and
Absolutely.
contaminate the whole supply.
Absolutely. Yep.
Purposeful or accidental.
Right, right.
So do you need to be, I mean, I guess you're looking for water, so you need to be that close to the wetland. You can't move it.
Yep, that's right. I mean, studies have been done, and this original well was a very successful well.
Mm-hmm.
So they like to keep it close because they know that it's a proven area. It's just that the screens of the well and everything has been gunked up over all these years.
Probably
And
manganese.
yep, exactly.
Oh.
Yep. So they know it's a successful area. They like
So
to keep
how
it
are you
close
going to
by.
protect that area? I mean, you're right there in the middle of everywhere. How are you going to protect the surrounding area while you're working?
Yep, so we have, as far as the construction
Yeah.
phase of things, we have compost filter tubes around this area and this area to protect any migration of material in this direction or this direction towards the resources. And really the impacts are gonna be very minimal.
I was gonna say, this minimal digging.
Yeah.
You know, new house, right? They're pulling out hundreds of yards. You know, there's very little digging in the big picture. I mean, yes, it's really
They're
close
just
to the
drilling.
resources. And they gotta deal with the sediment they pull out as they drill, but
And that's kind of where back
you're
where
not talking hundreds of yards.
asking the question of how deep the well is. Obviously, the deeper the well, if you're going down hundreds of feet, you're going to have a lot of stuff coming out of various layers of soil and rock or whatever.
What are you doing with that?
You know, I wasn't told, but in situations like this, they always just get taken off-site, you know, by the drilling contractor.
What are the
Which would-
drills powered by? Is it a diesel drill?
Yes.
It's off the truck, so it's powered.
Yep.
So
Exactly.
is
It's a big
there
rig.
any concern about dripping or?
I mean, there are a lot of hydraulics and gears and.
I mean, it's
Typical.
the same concerns with really any construction vehicle as far as like a bulldozer or anything like that. Obviously, you know, they have to have due diligence, some, you know, spill equipment, some solvent materials just in case.
Do you have people there making sure that you're not leaking fluids in our water?
Yes, so we, let's see, there is a specification that we have, the environmental protection specification. So it talks about not allowing refueling to happen within 100 feet of wetlands. It talks about having to have a hazardous waste cleanup kit on site.
Spill kit.
Spill kit, thank you. On site, and obviously to keep an eye check for any dripping, leaking, that sort of thing. No, no washing of vehicles on site, you know.
And now let me ask you a question. What happens if they drill this well and it is a dry well? It doesn't put out the flow rate that they're looking for.
That's why they're going to do the pumping test.
My question is, then they'd have to come back, or would you be proposing to drill another in the close proximity to try and do something, or rethinking the whole?
I think, well, I'm not a hydrogeologist who designs these things, but I think the next step would be for them to just start drilling a number of different holes.
But I think from listening to you, their belief is that the initial one is basically clogged up from just being in service for so many years, but there's still a good source of water in that aquifer down there. They just need a new way to get to it.
Exactly, that's correct.
There could be some kind of concept where if they drill and it doesn't, they move within 10 feet. Are you trying to protect them from having to file a new notice of intent?
Yeah, I'm trying to find out
So,
kind
like,
of what
so
the
worst
game
case
what the
scenario.
game plan is. Like, okay, that one didn't work. You know, what do we do now?
So I think at that point, just communicate with me and I can get kind of feedback from the commission. So say if that did happen, just keep
Okay.
communication open. I'd like it to not have to be refiling.
Gotcha.
It'd be real time.
Right.
So maybe there'd be some kind of aspect of real time with really issues, coordinate with me and I can coordinate the commission. And if it's drilling within kind of that general footprint that's outlined, they wouldn't have to refile. I mean, the commission's gonna have to let them do something at some point, kind of process procedure. It'd be nice to kind of nail that down before there's an emergency.
Yeah, obviously we don't want to have to shut the system down. You've taken the system offline now. Now we're stuck without a
And then,
functional
and then you're
well.
filing a month and a half to get it approved.
Right, and they definitely would not take this offline until,
Till they're sure that
This
this
one-
is and then obviously you have to do you know, chemical testing, metal testing, bacteriological testing to say
Right.
the water's okay, pure, safe, you know,
absolutely.
appropriate grade for drinking water.
Yep, absolutely. So I wanted to touch base on two other environmental resources that are at the site. This whole area is within endangered species habitat. So it's an endangered turtle, I think it's the Blanchard turtle. And
Blandings.
Blandings, thank you. And we've been in touch, we sent the notice of intent in a project review request to the MISA office. They review natural heritage projects and natural heritage sites. What they've told us, they've come back and they said they're pretty much okay with it. They just want to have a turtle protection plan in place.
Yeah, that's kind of one of the hot spots for the Blandings in the entire state down in.
That's what I heard. he told me over the phone, he said, this is the area for that turtle, I guess.
And September, we still have hatchlings coming out. They start
September's kind of
coming out in late August, and it's possible that there might be some stragglers. I don't know. What I guess later September would probably be best.
Yeah.
Early September would be sort of really on the edge of the hatchling emergence time.
So National Heritage is requiring a plan, so they're gonna have to nail all that down.
Yep.
And it'll have to get approved by National Heritage.
Okay.
Because
So they'll do the
Okay.
standard, someone has to sweep the silt fence every morning before work starts. They have to train the
Why
workers
do you
on
have
X,
to do
Y,
it
and
in
Z.
September?
It has to do with, we wouldn't be able to do it, we wouldn't be able to get this all ready to go within, before the main water demand hits. So we didn't want to get this halfway through and then the water demand hits and then we're in the middle of trying to change these over. So we wanted to
Yeah,
wait till the end of
I'd shoot-
the demand season.
I'd shoot till
How
the,
about
toward the end,
October?
well, I'd shoot till the end of September. I mean,
Yeah.
the only thing is, you can't push them too far because you don't wanna wait till you got frozen conditions out there and other problems.
No, it doesn't freeze in October, and that would be.
So
Yeah, later tonight it will.
Because this is getting continued, is that something you can look into for
Mhm.
us and evaluate potentially moving that to adjust? Because guess what, I think
Yeah.
National Heritage would like to see that too.
Turtles in
Yeah,
late
we talked,
September are
we
already
gave
going
them the
into hibernation.
timeline
And the-
and they were happy with it.
Really?
Yeah.
In late September?
Sure.
I'll ask my
They're,
neighbor.
they're cold-blooded,
That's
they're not
something we can
moving
get
too much,
in
they
writing.
don't do
George
much
Trubisky
eating.
does
Nobody-
all the landing
Well,
studies.
whatever, I
Yeah.
just like,
Yeah.
I think it'd be better.
Have you ever
if they
dealt with
removed
Steve
more
Paulson,
of
that
the-
Right across the street.
really
I'm
nice
still
guy?
finding,
I'll just
I'm
send him an
still
email
finding
tomorrow. He'll
hatchlings
probably
on the rail
respond.
trail in late September.
So what we can do, Laura, is we'll take that offline, we'll talk to some of the turtle folk in
Okay,
town
okay.
and National Heritage, and by
Yeah.
the next meeting, we'll nail that down.
Yeah.
So the letter did come out, National Heritage kind of approved this with conditions that they submit this turtle plan and
Okay.
something like that. So if it doesn't matter to everybody, we can always move that around a month, as long as it doesn't, impact the project too much.
Okay.
And again, we can't close this tonight because we don't have
No.
a
You know why they're on the rail trail? They're trying to get sun. That's why they're there. Because turtles, late August, early September, they stop eating as much. They kind of are prepping to go into hibernation,
No,
so.
I'm finding hatchlings this big, wandering down the
Itty
rail
bitty
trail looking for
smiley.
the wetland.
Little smiling ones.
Yes.
Because they have to dig down early enough or they're gonna freeze. They have to get down below the frost line before the hard freeze comes, or they won't make it.
So if you see any now, you have to take them home.
No,
I do.
That's not what we're saying. So, November meeting,
Yep.
November 15th,
Okay.
at 8 o'clock.
Is this one that you would request us to be at?
I think if all we're waiting for is a DEP number, I don't think,
And
We
the
actually
turtle
even-
plan.
The turtle plan.
That's not our condition, that's the
Oh, I'm
National
sorry,
Heritage.
you're right.
But if
'Cause-
we
So-
ask them,
Again, we're gonna be involved in it, I'm just trying to clarify, like, we don't trump National Heritage, we can have a conversation with them and adjust mutually between all of us, but we
Okay.
can't really condition anything National Heritage wise, that's their job.
And we would certainly forward you that plan
Yeah.
once we do get it approved.
So I've been involved in other town projects where I'm actually the turtle inspector that goes and does the inspection, so that might be able to save them some money.
Well, actually, Steve mentioned that to me. He said there's a couple of people on the commission here that might be able to do the sweeps
There are
or,
other people in town too, but
and,
yeah,
yep,
we can talk about that offline.
perfect.
so I mean, I think we wanna see that, we wanna see the,
Oh, we will.
the plan.
We have less to do with it than we think, I guess is what I'm trying to say. I mean, Rachel has complete control over it, we know that, that's a different story.
yep. If only that were true.
So 8 o'clock, that works for.
November
and the applicant
15th?
does not have to be there for the meeting, kind of just, it's more technicality.
Okay.
As we get closer, I'll confirm that, just if there's any issues that come up last minute. maybe
Perfect.
come in, But at this point, I don't think you need to come.
Okay.
Well, I'll entertain a motion to continue to November 15th.
I'll make a motion to continue 75 West Street, DEP number 161. There's nothing after that.
No
Okay.
DT, but no.
GCC 2018-17 to,
November 15th?
yep, November
o'clock.
15th at 8 o'clock.
Second.
We have a motion, and it's been seconded to continue the notice of intent for 75 West Street to November 15th at 8 o'clock. And before I call the question, I'm calling out to the audience that isn't there. There is noting that there is no one in the audience looking to ask any questions. And now I'll call the question. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All abstaining. Thank you.
Thank you all.
Thank you, sir.
I just want to clarify, you did say turtle inspector, right?
Yes. What did I say?
I
Turtle.
sure I heard correctly.
Turtle inspector?
So Carl, 59 Warren Street's the last one that we need to.
It being on or after 7:35, I'm going to reopen notice of intent for 59 Warren Street, DEP 161-0859, or GCC 2018-04. This was for land clearing to restore to farmland near wetlands. And I believe we've been asked to continue this?
Correct.
Okay,
Wait, can I ask a question first?
sure.
I found, remember you and I talked, I found all those people at
That's who they're working
at the
with.
state who could help them, did
That's who they're working with.
that's terrific.
So they're working with agencies to get funding and assistance to delineate, get better plot plans, so they can come in with a plan that's approvable to the commission, or acceptable to the commission. So
Good.
they're actively doing that. That's why
That's
they've been
great.
requesting continuations. So November 15th at 8:05, please.
November 15th. Do we want to continue that further out? Are they gonna, or do you have a feeling that they're gonna be ready at then?
I mean, you can go 2 months if you want, but,
It doesn't really,
Recontinue.
yeah,
It doesn't really matter.
administratively, it's 10 seconds. I'd rather, they're very excited about this, although we're going to
well,
winter.
if they're excited, excited
Carl
can be
is
good or
excited
bad.
too.
Uh,
Are they getting good help? Have you talked to them about what they're doing?
I have no idea. 2 months ago, we had a discussion that they mentioned they were looking to get some funding and some help.
Mm-hmm.
Everything else is just requesting continuations.
That's great.
I'll entertain a motion.
Mr. Chairman,
November 15th.
I'd like to make a motion to continue 59 Warren Street, DEP 161-0859, GCC 2018-04, to November 15th at 8:05 p.m.
Second.
There's a motion, it's been seconded to continue the notice of intent for 59 Warren Street to November 15th at 8:05 p.m. Is there any further discussion? All in favor? Aye.
Oh, aye.
Opposed? Abstaining. Is there any other business we need to
Just
address?
signing decisions that you guys made tonight.
Okay.
This is the, we don't get that. This is the ORAD for 554 North Street. The order of conditions for 541 North Street. So this is that septic replacement. This is the order of conditions for 68 Jewett Street that you approved tonight. And the last one is the RDA for the Juniper property.
Harbor Place is the new building in Haverhill, right on the corner, White's Corner, corner of 125 and.
So if you go, parking.
It's the UML building, the
Oh.
university building.
In
Haverhill.
Haverhill?
So if you do go, this parking's really hard there.
Mhm.
Park in the Market Basket Plaza parking lot, just walk over.
Oh, right.
It's right there. As far as downtown parking, it's really, really hard.
Yeah, they charge for that parking lot, I believe.
Yep. Not for the Market Basket one, for the town parking lot.
Yeah. I can park in the town one for free, though.
Oh, you can you?
I can.
So That's all I have tonight, Carl, on my list.
Okay, I will entertain a motion to close.
Mr. Chairman, let's close the meeting.
Sounds like a great idea. There is a motion, and it's been seconded to close the October 18th meeting of the Georgetown Conservation Commission. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All opposed? All abstaining. Motion carries.